Now is the Department of Defense. More text messages sent and received by Trump officials around January 6th have been deleted. A purge so outrageous that it would also be surprising if it wasn't now such a pattern. First, it was the Secret Service. Second, top officials at Homeland Security. Today, the Washington Post reports that the Pentagon deleted messages related to January 6th from the phones of senior Trump Defense Department and Army officials, according to new court records. Those officials were in charge of mobilizing the National Guard to respond to the Capitol attack, including then acting Defense Secretary Chris Miller and then Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy. In a court filing from March posted on the website of the watchdog group American Oversight, Defense Department lawyers said government phones are turned in and wiped when an employee leaves the department, and the text messages were not preserved, therefore could not be searched. We are back with Luke and Joyce. So, Joyce, the Washington Post reports defense officials said the deletions were just standard process and nobody was trying to hide or conceal anything. That would be a false narrative. What do you think? Is this really just standard policy, or is this just smell a little bit more like a cover-up?
You know, it's possible that both of those can be true, that there are standard policies about records retentions, but that perhaps they became more of a cover for taking action than they were following standard practice. The problem right now is that we don't know the truth. There is a lot of smoke. It is essential that we come to understand the truth, both for the integrity of the investigations, but also so that people can continue to have confidence in their government. And Michael, you know me, every once in a while, despite the fact that I'm a lawyer, I feel this need to prevail upon common sense. And so here that makes me think that if you're in the top leadership of any of these agencies, but right now the Department of Defense, you're coming to the end of an administration, you've lived through January 6th. Do you, in your exercise of your good wisdom as a public servant, do you say, you know, maybe we need to take extra steps to make sure all of these records from this very impactful day are preserved? Or do you say, nah, let's go ahead and destroy everything? We wouldn't want it to come to light. This seems like a very easy answer to me for anyone in leadership of even a small office in government. Even as a former United States attorney in Birmingham, Alabama, I know the answer is that when something momentous like this has happened, you preserve the records because the government is responsible to its citizens for the truth.
Yeah, Luke, Joyce is making the point that clearly is rankling a number of members in the political community on the Hill. Senate Judiciary Chair Dick Durbin has asked the Attorney General Garland to take over the DHS IG's investigation into the missing DHS and Secret Service texts. And American Oversight asked him to look into the missing DOD texts. So what is the DOJ's role here? And will we hear an update from the January 6th committee about any or all of this?
Well, I know the January 6th committee is very concerned with these missing text messages, both from the Homeland Security Department and also from the Department of Defense. And you're right, just today, Senator Durbin, the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, has called for the Inspector General of the Defense Department to launch an investigation into the wiping of these phones. I heard from the Inspector General's office in response. They said they're waiting to receive the letter today from Senator Durbin, and then they'll respond about how they are going to proceed. But, you know, the Defense Department is saying, look, this was standard procedure. When an official left government, they turned in their government phone, we wiped it and gave it to somebody else. And Senator Durbin is asking, was that bad faith? Was it stunning incompetence? Or was it just bad policies? And something needs to be addressed here, because knowing that January 6th was this momentous day, knowing that these records would be sought by Congress, by outside groups, by journalists and others, the Defense Department should have taken steps, in his view, to preserve all these text messages and make sure that none of them were deleted when this wiping occurred. And so now we have several branches of government that have missing text messages, missing records from the Trump administration. And I know there will be efforts to try to recover them, but some may be lost forever, and we will never know exactly what was being said during January 6th.
So, Luke, let me follow up with you on that, because you have former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta saying on MSNBC it's very clearly a conspiracy. So what does the January 6th committee make of all of this, and how do they put this into context for what happened?
Well, publicly, they say they're in a fact-finding mode. They are trying to get to the bottom of what happened. But if you talk to some of the members and staff members privately, they will indicate they think there's something fishy going on here. And I believe a couple of them have said that publicly as well, that there shouldn't be all these missing texts, and there's something wrong going on. And then you're seeing the accusations also from the chairs of the Oversight Committee about the Inspector General's own oversight of the Secret Service, where they knew about these missing texts for months. They seemed to do nothing about it. They were extremely tardy or lax in their investigation, and they didn't notify Congress until half a year after they had learned about the missing texts. So there are a lot of questions to be asked here, and we do know some of the Inspector General employees are being called in to testify about why these texts went missing and why there wasn't more scrutiny on that agency.
Luke Broadwater and Joyce Vance, thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. Up next, a wild day in court for Alex Jones, caught lying in his trial with Sandy Hook families. We'll show you that right after this.